Now let's begin the conversation. One pill that is hard to swallow is the inevitability of death. Nigeria was stunned by this reality with the passing of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General TaoreedLagbaja, after a period of illness. His death was announced in a statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, BayoOnanuga. General Lagbaja, who died at 56, was appointed Chief of Army Staff by President Tinubu on the 19th of June 2023. He demonstrated exceptional leadership across various formations in the fight against insecurity in the country. Now, just as Abraham Lincoln puts it, in the end, it is not the years in your life that count, it is the life in your years. Now, let's begin the conversation this way. BKO, our heart goes out to the family of the late General TaoreedLagbaja.
Yes.
He lost a fine soldier, isn't it?
Yes. The truth is, not all great soldiers die on the battlefield.
Sure.
Some die on their beds. General Lagbaja was a soldier who took great risk until he became Chief of Army Staff. General Lagbaja would always advance with his troops. He was not the sort of commander who would not join you. He was a servant leader. He led from the front.
The forefront.
Yes. As GOC, one division, he would advance with his troops. He would be in the bush for days.
Wow.
They're on operation, he would be right there with them. And that was why when it was approaching the time for Mr. President to pick service chiefs, on this program, I mentioned 4 of the best officers that the President could consider. And the President considered 2 of those 4 officers that I suggested on this program. General Lagbaja was first, and General C.G. Musa, who is today the Chief of Defense Staff. Because I work with the military.
Interactive with
I travel with them. I go to dangerous areas with them. I'm familiar with their weapons. With the Air Force, I've flown in warplanes. So these people are not new to me. They are people that I know very well. I know their pedigree. I can analyze them. So I suggested to the President that, look, you are going to pick service chiefs. These are among the best 4. And as God will have it, 2 of the
persons you suggested,
the 4 officers that I suggested, Mr. President picked 2 of them. I'm not saying it was because he listened to me, but I'm happy because in picking 2 out of 4, it was clear that I got the analysis right. And today, the person who leads our armed forces, the officer who leads our armed forces, General Christopher Gwabe Musa, is the Chief of Defense Staff. He was theater commander at Operation Lafayette Dole in Maiduguri, and then became Corps Commander of the Infantry Corps. It was the position that I held before
becoming the CDS.
Yes. And today, the current acting Chief of Army Staff was also Commander of the Infantry Corps.
Okay.
Judge. So, if you heard what I said, it's unfortunate that we couldn't play some of these things back. Some of the things that I said about Lagbaja at that time are the things that, when you read the statement that the Chief of Defense Staff said about him, it was what I was talking about. That this is the kind of officer that he is. A servant leader who led from the front, somebody prepared to risk his own life just to make the rest of us safe. I don't think we've had that kind of officer in a very long time. And that's why the Chief of Defense Staff described his his commitment to service as unparalleled. Because for somebody to put his own life on the line as a general, to lead the troops, he's not just interested in crafting the strategy that delivers victory. He will be in the implementation. Yes, it was when he became Chief of Army Staff that, that he stopped. You know? So this is the sort of person that he is. And he was very proactive. Oh, okay. When you complain that you need something, before the paperwork is done, Lagbaja will send those things that you need.
Really?
Equipment and the rest. That was why when he was appointed Chief of Army Staff, there was jubilation in the barracks. Because he was extremely popular. You see, in our country, it is not unusual. It is unusual for someone to command 2 divisions. If as a general you command 1 division, you even thank God. Say, I became a GOC.
Exactly.
Lagbaja commanded 1 div and commanded 82 division in Enugu.
Really?
That is reserved for exceptionally gifted officers. So there's nothing we'll say about this officer that will amount to an exaggeration. This is a massive loss for our nation. An exemplary officer who typified all those traits that you need from a soldier. He had it. Courage, brilliance, everything. And it didn't look like somebody who was ill. Because I attended the Nigerian Army Day celebration in Jos. You know? And when it was time for him to shake hands and present our plaques to us, I gave him that salute, like a proper soldier. Because I see myself as one of them already. I see myself, I've been privileged to get to where none of my colleagues can say he's been privileged to go to in covering military affairs. So I already see myself as one of them. In fact, the Senate President nicknamed me the civilian general. And I'm happy that even soldiers still call me civilian general because they always see me around them. So this is a loss not just to the armed forces, but to every one of us. And I feel a personal loss. You can see some of the pictures. I can't look at some of the pictures that
you took together.
Yes. It's difficult for me to look. When we visited him and he paid the courtesy call, you know, there are pictures that we took. I can't look at those pictures. This is just unfortunate. We've lost 2 of our last 3 service chiefs now. 2 of our last 3 Chief of Army Staffs. We've lost them on active duty.
Oh, dear.
We lost Atahiru.
Yes. General Atahiru.
Yes. And I remember when I was, when I called the army spokesman then, that was army spokesman during Atahiru's time, I was weeping like a baby.
Oh, dear.
But he showed courage. So I'm like, and at the point I told myself, I said, it shouldn't be you. These are people closer to him than you are. It shouldn't be you at the other end crying.
Yes.
Because you can imagine what they've gone through. People like Brigadier General Olakunle Nafiu, he was the Chief of Staff to the Chief of Army Staff.
Okay.
I wonder how they are feeling. Or his ADC, you know, all of them.
Sure.
People who had worked with him for years, people that he had mentored. So if I feel this bad that we have lost this man, how would they be feeling this time? It's painful. I can't call them. Because I'm an emotional person, I can't call them.
I understand. But Majid, Ike has said a lot about the late Chief of Army Staff. But in your opinion, let's talk about immortalization here. What do you think can be done to keep his memory alive?
Yeah. I wish the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, I wish I extend my condolence to him and all Nigerians. It's a great loss. And the only way we can sustain his legacy and immortalize him is to ensure that the professionalism and forthrightness which is building in the military is in the army is sustained.
Is sustained.
Yes, I mean, he had an ambitious plan for modernization and integration of the military, which he had started. And since he became coerced, you could see that he's been, there has been a reduction in the level of terrorism and kidnapping all over the country. And another thing which a retired general told me about him when we were discussing his passage this morning was that he said I should go and look at the code names given to most of the military operations. He said he is instructive to, some of these things. It's instrumental. So, instrumental to some of these things. So, that is it Operation Lafayette Dole, which became Hadinkai, and Up Mesa, or Awatse, or Python Dance, or Crocodile Smile. Said all those operations, were carefully codenamed to suit a particular section of the country or the purpose for which the codes were given.
Okay.
It's been, it's a very sad day for,
really sad.
For the military.
Okay. So right about now, let's go down memory and share some of our discussion on his appointment and capacity as the Army Chief.
We've had a good number of brilliant officers who have worked in that theater that's in Borno State. And I can say General Chris Musa did a fantastic job. He's been transferred now to become the commander of the Nigerian Infantry Corps. There are so many of them that I'm proud of in the army, doing a good job. Raizugu, General Lagbaja. We have a very good set of soldiers that the the president-elect can pick from.
General Lagbaja, there are some people that you make appointment and you start looking for their CV.
Yes.
To see what they've done. It's true. These are not the kind of people that you look for their CV. No. Yes, I believe that the president got this right. Now, if you look at the chief of...
See the chief of defense staff behind me. That's sitting there.
That's January 2022. Yes.
We are having the chief of army staff one time in charge of operations at the headquarters, or the army headquarters. General Taoreed Lagbaja is, in my view, the most courageous officer in the army today. I have no doubt at all in my mind that when you are talking about courage, fearlessness, Lagbaja is somebody that comes to mind, because this is an officer who joins the troops on the battlefield. He is not going to send you out and wait for you to bring stories. That's not Lagbaja. Lagbaja, we do is operations briefing on Monday. After the operations briefing is going into the bush. He will come back on Sunday. He is coming back on Sunday is for him to be able to present the briefing for Monday. There are days when he will not even show up at all on Mondays for briefing. He's in the bush. Lagbaja will enter inside Benengwari to chase the bandits and come out at the Abuja Kaduna Expressway end.
That's the new chief of army staff?
That's him in front wearing, this is the way he dresses with the boys. He wears his t-shirt, he's going into the bush with them. Ask anybody in the army. That was why his appointment elicited jubilation across all the places where he has served. He served as a GOC, 82 Division.
Enugu.
Yeah, Enugu. He served. He was the one who made it possible for that election to take place, governorship election. He promised that that election will be held, there will be peace, and you know, because he's in charge of the whole area.
Yeah.
And he delivered. Then in Kaduna, he said, he told his staff, look, I want to be sending people.
So it's always leading like this.
Yes.
Going to battle.
He will go. I said he will not, he will stay in the bush for days. This is an unusual kind of officer. And as chief of operations of the army, he has focused on those areas where we have issues, and is doing his best. Especially this Brinigwari. Not many people can go to Brinigwari before now. Then when he was in Enugu, of course, he dealt with the unknown government. When you look at some of the states of the Southeast, you see that Enugu is relatively peaceful. You can't compare Enugu with Abia or Anambra. It's part of what he has done. He also has some history to his name. Having the privilege of serving as GOC in 2 different divisions. Having the privilege of serving as a commanding officer in 2 different battalions. They always find him useful to send him. There is no officer like General Lagbaja in the army today, and what has convinced me that Asiwaju knows what he's doing.
Oh yeah, BKO, may the soul of this fine soldier rest in peace.
Amen.
Amen.
Wow, you said a lot.